Today we will take up last module, module number 5. It is comprised of alternator and induction motor. Question number 9a, what he asked is, derive the EMF equation of a synchronous generator for 6 mass. For this, first what you have to do is, you have to specify the different terms you are using in the EMF equation. That is, the flux per pole, that is in terms of Webers. Then P is the total number of poles. ZP is that conductors per phase. It is the total number of conductors or coil sides in series per phase. The TP is the total conductors, the total number of coils or turns per phase. That is, conductors is coil sides, turns is coils or turns per phase. N is the speed in RPM, that is synchronous speed. F is frequency of the generated voltage, that is measured in terms of hertz. And Kc and Kds are coil span factor and distribution factor. Then once again, to derive the EMF equation, we are using the same fundamental principles of electromagnetic induction. The magnitude of induced voltage is given by Faraday's second law, that is, the generated voltage is directly proportional to rate of change of flux. Then for one revolution of a rotor, we will see that is the total flux cut by a conductor in one revolution is P into phi, because phi is the flux produced by each pole. Such P poles, it is going through such P poles, therefore total flux in one revolution cut by a single conductor is P into phi. At the same time, the time taken for one revolution is 60 by n second. Therefore, what I am writing is the average value of a generated voltage per conductor, because I am considering single conductor, single revolution. When conductor cuts by flux in one revolution is P into phi. I am considering here for average value of generated voltage per conductor. Since how many conductors are there in series in a per phase, that is what you are calling is Zp is the total number of conductors series in series per phase. The average voltage is generated per phase is given by it is rate of change of flux. Therefore, I am writing here flux cut per revolution in Weber, time taken for one revolution in a second. That is what I am calculating here is the average value of generated voltage per conductor. Therefore, the change in the flux or the flux cut by single conductor single revolution is P into phi. The time taken for one revolution is 60 by n. Therefore, average induced voltage in a single conductor is P n phi divided by 60. If you are multiplying the 2 on both sides to this equation, what I am getting here is 2 phi Pn 60 into 2 is 20. Here I am multiplying and dividing the 2 for this equation, so that the average induced voltage per conductor, what I am getting is, because Pn by 120 is F, therefore I am reducing this equation to 2 pi F volts, since F is equal to Pn by 120. What I am getting here is the average induced voltage in a single conductor. Therefore, what we are interested in is the per phase induced voltage, that to RMS voltage. Therefore, E average per phase means it is single conductor. Such Zp conductors are there in one phase. Therefore, if you are multiplying Zp to this, what I am getting is E average per phase. Therefore, what I am getting here is 2F phi Zp is the induced voltage per phase. Zp is replaced by the Tp. Therefore, what I am getting is Zp is equal to 2 times Tp. Therefore, the equation what I am getting here is 4F phi Tp is the total induced voltage. Now, what I am interested is the RMS value. Therefore, ERMS per phase is, you have to multiply 1.11. Therefore, 1.11 into 4 F phi Tp. Therefore, if you are multiplying 4 to this, then what I am getting is 4.44 phi F Tp volts is the induced voltage. Suppose if you are considering Kc and Kd, therefore the RMS voltage what I am getting here is per phase is 4.44 kc kd 5 ftp volts. This is how we have to derive the EMF equation for synchronous generator. It is simple. The flux cut per revolution and time taken for one revolution P5 by 60 by N. It is the induced voltage, average induced voltage in single conductor. Such ZP conductors are there in one phase. Therefore, if you are multiplying ZP to this, what I am getting this voltage. Then whatever interested is RMS value, therefore you have to multiply 1.11. Therefore, what you are getting 4.445 TP. You have to consider the coil span factor and the distribution factor. Thereby, the final equation for the induced voltage per phase, what I am getting is 4.44 kc into kd into 5 f into TP volts. Then question number 9b, what he asked is, with a neat circuit diagram, explain the working of a star delta starter for a 3-phase induction motor. The first question arises here is, why the starter is necessary? Because it is drawing a heavy current at the time of starting, therefore you have to make use of the starter. It is the name itself suggests that it is a star delta, means at the time of starting the stator winding of the induction motor is connected in star. Once it picks up the speed, it is changing over to the delta, therefore it is called as star delta starter. Then how to draw this star delta starter? It is very simple. First you have to draw 3 windings of a stator, that is R phase, Y phase, B phase, with 1 dash is the starting of the R phase, 1 dash is the end of the R phase. Similarly, 2 is the starting of the Y phase, 2 dash is the end of the Y phase. Similarly, 3 is the starting of the B phase, 3 dash is the end of the B phase. This you have to draw. Then we have got a 3-phase supply. It is you are applying to here. These are the 1, 2, 3s. Here you are giving a 3-phase supply. I am marking here 1, 2, 3. At the same time, the 3-phase supply is I am extending here. That is cord is extending here. It is what you are call is single pole switch. It is called 3-pole switch, single throw. Here, what you have to do is all the starting of the 3 phases, they are connecting to the supply here. You can see here. It is 1 is connected to 1 of the phase. The 2 is connected to 2 of the phase, and 3 is connected to 3 of the phase. Then 1 dash, 2 dash, 3 dash, that is the end of the 3 phases, they are connected to other switch here. That is, they are connected in such a way that it is 1 dash, 2 dash and 3 dash. That is, you have to shift the sequence by 1, therefore it is 1 dash, 2 dash and 3 dash. Then how exactly it works, that we'll see. What I am calling here is, at the time of starting, the position of the stator winding is connected in star. If you have got a 440 volts 3-phase supply, then per phase voltage how much you are getting? 440 divided by root 3. Therefore, there is a reduced voltage you are getting at the time of starting. Then under running condition, you are connecting the same winding into a delta. Then the voltage what you are getting is a full voltage 440, because per phase voltage as well as the line voltage remains the same. Thereby, under running condition, you are applying the full voltage. At the time of starting, you are applying the lesser voltage. Because of the application of the lesser voltage, it will draw a lesser current. Okay, that we will see in the discussion here. This stator winding of the motor is designed for a delta operation and is connected in star during the starting. Actually, the stator winding is connected in the delta for the induction motor. But for a starting purpose, you are breaking all the 6 terminals so that it should be connected in star at this time of starting, and under running condition you have to connect it in a delta. And is connected in star during the starting period. When the machine is up to speed, the connections are changed to delta. At the instant of starting, the changeover switch thrown to the start portion, which connect to the stator winding in star. At the time of starting, it is connected in star. How it is connected in star, I will explain. Therefore, each stator phase gets V by root 3 volts, where V is the line voltage. This reduces the starting current because the voltage what we are getting across each phase is V by root 3. And when the motor picks up the speed, the changeover switch is thrown to run position. Here it is run, it is a start here. Position which connects the stator winding in delta. Now each stator phase gets the full line voltage of V. When it is connected in delta, you are getting the voltage across each phase is V. When it is connected in star, the voltage what you are getting is V by root 3. Therefore, at the time of starting, you are connecting in the star, so that you are getting a lesser voltage. Thereby, it is reducing the current at the time of starting. Then we will analyze how exactly you are making star and delta here. See here, this 1 dash, 2 dash, 3 dash, it is a 1 dash, 2 dash, 3 dash is connected here. When it is start, see here, this switch is, this 3 dash is connected here, 1 dash is connected here, 2 dash is connected here. All these are short circuited, means these are all short circuited, and it is act as a star. It is act as a star. Then once the machine picks up the speed, then this switch is changing over to the delta connection. How exactly we are doing here, you can see here. That is, 1 is connected to 3 dash, 2 is connected to 1 dash, 3 is connected to 2 dash. You can recall here. That is, 1 dash is connected to 1 is connected to 3 dash. See here, 1 is connected to 3 dash, 1 is connected to 3 dash. You can see here, means it is starting point. You can state it is a closed path here. 1 to 3 dash, 1 to 3 dash. Then 3 dash, 3 is connected. 3 is connected to 2 dash. You can see here. This 3 is connected to here 2 dash. It is connected to 2 dash. 2 dash is connected to 2. In turn, 2 is connected to 1 dash. 2 is connected to 1 dash. 1 dash is here. Sorry, here it is 1 dash. Sorry, 2 dash here. 2 dash to 2 dash. It is 1 dash here. See here. This is 1 dash. Means you are starting here. You are started here. That is 1, 2, 3 dash, 3 dash to 3, 3 to 2 dash, 2 dash to 2, 2 to 1 dash, 1 dash to 1. It is a close. It is act as a delta connection when it is changing over from star to run condition. Therefore, you are making use of the stator winding for star and delta for starting purposes. Starting purpose, so that you can reduce the current at the time of starting. This is how you have to explain with the help of a neat circuit diagram and some of the explanation, the point. The question number 9C, he asks a numerical on an alternator. A 12 pole 3-phase alternator is coupled to an engine running at a 500 rpm. It supplies an induction motor which has a full load speed of 1440 rpm. Find the percentage slip and the number of poles of the motor. Just you have to carefully can analyze this problem. There is a 12 pole 3-phase alternator. First I am drawing here alternator. It has got 12 pole and the speed is 500 rpm. It is given 12 pole 500 rpm. It is connected to a 3-phase induction motor. It is running with a speed of 1440. It is running with a speed of 1440 rpm. Find the percentage step and the number of poles of the motor. First, what you have to do is, he is not given a what is the supply frequency here of the alternator. So that we need the what is supply frequency for the induction motor. Okay. Thereby I have to calculate the synchronous speed and the number of poles. Therefore, first I am calculating the frequency of the alternator using P and NS. I know that frequency F is given by PNS by 120, that is 12 into 500 by 120. Therefore, what I am getting is the frequency of the alternator is 50 Hz. The same 50 Hz frequency supply is given to the 3-phase induction motor. Then what he asked is, since N is 1440 rpm, he is given 1440 rpm, and the number of poles is not given. Number of poles is not given. Frequency is known, but we don't know the synchronous speed. It is not possible to calculate the synchronous speed because the only one data I have got, that is the frequency. I don't have the another data P, because to calculate ns 120f by P, I need f as well as P, but I know the P, f, but I don't know the value of P. For that, what is given is 1440 rpm is the rotor speed of the induction motor. Therefore, in this case, what I suggested you that the nearer to the rotor speed, you have to choose the nearest synchronous speed. That is 1440 is the rotor speed. Therefore, you have to choose 1500 rpm as a synchronous speed. Therefore, I have written here, since n is 1440 rpm, has to be somewhere near to it, say 15 rpm is the ns. If ns is assumed as 1500 rpm, then you have to proceed for calculation of the P. In that case, the calculation of the P is very simple. The synchronous speed of the rotating magnetic field of the induction motor, what you have chosen is 1500 rpm. From that, you have to find out S is equal to ns minus n divided by ns. Therefore, the slip how we are calculating, ns is you are assumed 1500, n is already given 1400. Therefore, you can substitute and you have to calculate the value of the slip. Slip what I am getting here is 0.04. And what I am getting is the slip is 0.04 is the slip. Percentage slip, if you are expressing it is 4%. Then from this equation you can calculate what is the P. P is equal to 120f by ns. P is equal to 120f by ns. Therefore, the number of poles is 4. This is how you have to calculate the number of poles and the slip of the induction motor. In the next session, we will take up the last question in the December 19 and 20 question paper, that is question number 10.